folks, this is all the fruit, and here I have yet another species of mousetrap tree or mousetrap fruit. Although those plants are endemic to Madagascar, well, they are quite popular as ornamentals, and they can be quite interesting and quite funny sometimes, except if you're on the receiving end on one of those plants. So, what are those mousetrap trees? Well, apparently they grow in tropical or subtropical climate. This one comes from the south of Madagascar, where it grows on sand dunes. They have quite a thick base of the stem, a caudex, a so-called caudex. They are considered kind of smallish trees, although succulent trees. What does this sign says? It says Typhuspflanze. That doesn't mean that this is a typhoid plant. That means that this is the plant which was used to describe the whole species. So this specimen was described as Uncarina roesliana. So a very important plant in the collection of the Heidelberg Botanic Garden, which is a great botanic garden. If you come to the city of Heidelberg, definitely come and visit it. It's a wonderful garden, and people here are doing a great job. And yeah, one of their important tasks is to protect this one specimen. Why is this so important? Well, if somebody starts describing the genus Uncarina again and starts separating species and so on, and for example decides that Uncarina roesliana is like not one species but 5 different species, then those plants which closely resemble this one, including this one, will still be kept as Uncarina roesliana, while the other species, the other new species will get new names. So you cannot rename the ones which basically look like this one, and you use this one plant in the Heidelberg Botanic Garden as a reference. Okay, so what can you do with mousetrap trees, which are also called Succulent Sesame? And I couldn't totally find out why. Well, you can use the seeds for essential oil. You can also grow them as ornamentals. They are very popular as ornamentals, although you have to beware of the fruit. Yeah, people say the nice soft velvety leaves and the beautiful flowers are very beautiful. Also finds the growth form beautiful. They are like small succulent trees. Different species look different. And then you have the fruits. Well, then you learn why the stuff is being called the mousetrap fruit. I'm picking up one of those fruits because this species is actually almost harmless, you could say. Well, almost, but not quite. If you want to check out my video from Tenerife about another species of mousetrap fruit, Uncarina grandidieri, which had much more dangerous fruits. Well, here, the little barbs on the tip are almost invisible. Those emergencies of the fruit, they are covered with hairs, but at the tip, they have a couple barbs. Just a couple. You have to look very closely to recognize those barbs among the hairs. What do those barbs do? Aha, they did it. They trapped me. It seems that those mousetrap fruit actually didn't evolve to trap mice, but they evolved to trap elephant birds. What's an elephant bird? Well, basically, it's an ostrich the size of a camel, which is extinct, not millions of years ago, but just a couple 100 years ago. And it seems that mostly those giant birds got the mousetrap fruits of different species caught in their feathers on their legs and then distributed them. Nowadays, those fruits are still a big problem for cattle and even for lemurs. I mean, lemurs, they have hands. You could even argue that they have 4 hands and still they have trouble removing those. Well, even I as a human have trouble removing those. How can I remove this now? Oh, come on. Yeah. Well, I know that most of you are interested in edible stuff, and so I tried to find out some edible uses. I mean, Africans, they would eat most leaves and young stems of a lot of plants which Europeans would consider too bitter or too toxic. They would eat them as spinach or in other forms. I couldn't find anything about the mousetrap fruit. Those nice velvety leaves and everything, they could be a nice salad if they are not too toxic. Well, the seeds are being used for essential oils, for medicine, and also there is this name Succulent Sesame. I tried to find some information about the seeds being used as sesame, but basically there was a site under the name of Uncarina grandidieri, but the description was pretty obviously of the real sesame plant, Sesamum indicum. I've been talking and I cannot free my hand. I think after the video I'll have to do it with both hands and with a knife. But right now during the video, although this is so much more harmless than other species of mousetrap tree, it still trapped me. I'm sure it could trap a mouse. If it can trap a lemur and even a human, it can trap a mouse. So folks, why do you think this stuff is being called the succulent sesame? Do you know the reason for this? I couldn't find anything about the seeds being used as sesame seeds. Also, do you know anything about edible uses of this plant? It's a beautiful ornamental. I think in its native country it's considered the pest because it's bad for livestock. Cows and goats and stuff get trapped in it. But tell me, what can you do? Can you eat parts of it? Can you use the seeds for edible oil? Apart from that, stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful Heidelberg Botanic Garden. Definitely visit the Heidelberg Botanic Garden if you're in Heidelberg. And if you don't want to miss any of my videos, you need to not only subscribe but also press the little notification bell.